It is peach day. So these peaches should have been done a while ago, but we ended up having a weekend where we weren't here either day. So I put them in the fridge and I just hoped that they would be okay. I don't think it's going to be the best, but here's the wonderful thing. They're being cooked. So even if I can't get sliced peaches, I know that I'll be able to make like a barbecue sauce or a jam out of them. I'm going to try to do slices with the ones I have here because that's what I most want. My next thing would be a peach barbecue sauce because we really liked that, but I know that I can use other fruits to make barbecue sauce, whereas peaches I really like to eat. So we put these sliced peaches on oatmeal in the winter. They're delicious on yogurt. You can spoon them over some vanilla ice cream if you like, and just like a fork in the jar like this. That's it. It's so good. But I wanted to walk you through the steps that I go through when I'm getting this all organized because I have a neurodivergent brain, which means that I can't really understand this project from start to finish, even when I've done it before, unless I break it down into the smallest steps. Step one is to clean my kitchen. This may be incredibly intuitive to somebody else. Clean your kitchen. Obviously, clean your kitchen before you start canning. This is not intuitive to me. It is a step that I must put in as I'm going through it. First step, clean kitchen. Second step, fill the pots with boiling water. Third step, get all of the stations created. I will show you the stations. And then step 4 would be to score the peaches. Step 5, put them in the hot water, blanch them, get them so the skins are going to peel off, and then get them into the ice water. I think that was 5. Step 6 is to remove the skins and slice the peaches. Step 7, get the peaches in the warm jars, add a tablespoon of maple syrup. Step 8, top the jars with hot water. So there we go. So now I know that I have not prepared to have hot water ready for the jars. So I need to add that in. I have no idea what step we're on. 9, 8, 9, see? This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Okay. And then, you know, you're gonna seal the jars and get them in the water bath to can. So it's a lot of steps for me. What was that, 8, 9 steps? Whereas someone else with a different kind of brain might just see this process as just a very smooth, you know, intuitive sort of thing. Whereas I'm like this chunk, this chunk, this chunk. So right now what I have done, let's go see. I have a bowl that has my lids. I always put a little hot water in here from the canner water. You don't have to anymore, I just like to. I make sure I have all my bands ready to go next to it. I'm still missing a couple of those. And then I also need a paper towel. So let's pause and go do that. 2 more bands. My paper towel, that will be for wiping the rims. I just dip it in the hot water. And then, oh, this is not clean. And then my funnel, which has some onion powder on it. So I will be washing that. This is why you go through all the steps. Okay, I've got my tablespoon for measuring the maple syrup, all of my peaches, a cutting board, a knife, and my ladle, which I will ladle the hot water into this bowl and into the jars. When the jars come out of the hot water, I put them directly onto a cutting board. And then I will have my, you know, I'll have my peaches all sliced up and ready to go. But that's another step. Let's go over to the stove. It seems like a lot, and it kind of is. But the wonderful thing is if you can piggyback this, don't just can one thing when you're canning, can something else. I don't know that I have something else to can, but I'll sure look for it. We've got, this is the water for the peaches. This came to a boil, I turned it down. This is where the peaches will pop in. Once they're done, this little guy will pick them up and put them into a bowl of ice water. I've got my ice sitting next to this bowl. Then This is my water bath canner. It has 7 jars in there right now. I don't need to boil them because this will boil for over 10 minutes. So that automatically sterilizes them, but I want them to be hot. I don't want to put cold jars into hot water. So always have your jars nice and hot. Some people use the oven, some people use the dishwasher. A dishcloth laid down next to the canner and your jar remover. This is the little tool that tells you that you have enough headspace on the jar and that you can use to get the air bubbles out of the jar. So that is the setup, and a glass of water because it's going to be 90 degrees today. That's why we're doing this early. So the first step, and you can use a smaller knife, I just happen to have this knife, is you're just going to score the bottom of the peaches, little X on the bottom. That way, after they come out of the water, when you go to peel them, they will peel, the skin will peel right off. You'll have somewhere to start it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that on all the peaches, and then we'll go ahead and put them into the water. Okay, so the peaches, the first batch of peaches is in the water. This doesn't have to last long, but because my peaches are cold, this may take a little longer than it might otherwise. Now, sometimes when you have a neurodivergent brain, it can be really helpful to see someone do this as opposed to reading it. Now, for me, what I find is I need to read the steps, see the steps, but most importantly, I need to do it. For me, learning something is all in the doing. So I have done this before, but like I said, just because I've done it before does not mean that it comes easily to me. I have to really think through every single step that needs to be done, including cleaning my kitchen. So I would say about a minute for these when you're blanching them. I left it for a tiny bit longer just because they were cold and I wasn't sure how much that would affect the situation. Normally my peaches are not cold when I'm doing this. And now the next batch goes in. This batch will cool and we'll just keep going like this until everything gets done. Now here's an important step for someone whose brain is a little bit more like mine. It may be easier for you to get all the peaches blanched and in the ice water and out of the ice water and get those on the counter rather than multitasking, trying to peel some of the peaches while you're still blanching others. And it just depends on who you are. It can be really distracting to start a new task and then forget about the task you're doing. So for me, if I start anything else while these peaches are going, they're gonna probably end up in the water for 6 to 10 minutes rather than, 60 seconds. So I need to be incredibly present to this process. So I am going to just keep going and get all the peaches done. And then I'll have everything over on my island, all the peaches, so I won't be confused what's blanched, what's cut, what's not. And then I will be able to just focus on peeling the peaches and slicing the peaches and then move on to the next step. You may need to break the steps down even further than how I break the steps down. And clearly I break the steps down and don't even remember how I've broken the steps down. But what I need to do is stay on track and not end up like in my bathroom closet cleaning it while I'm making peaches, which is more of how I work. I am very swirly. I am not linear or circular. It's just like all over. So that's what I need to do, put my focus here. So I know I've talked about the length of time now that it requires for these peaches, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. So this water was ice water, and the ice melts every time I put in a new batch of peaches. That's why I keep a bucket of ice right next to it, so I can ensure at all times I can just throw some more ice in and make sure the water is cool enough to kind of cool these down. You're not cooking them at this point, you're just trying to get the skins off. Peeling the peaches. You have this little score mark and your peel comes right off. It is as simple as that. The chicken are going to love this, I think. Now my bowl of peaches has turned into my bowl of sliced peaches. My ice bucket has turned into my compost bin. And my cutting board is currently being used to slice peaches. What I find to be the easiest is I just go around in a circle and then pull the peach away from the pit and then go ahead and put that into whatever slices or shape I'm looking for. You can certainly do these, dice these up if you wanted to. And then this just goes into my bowl of sliced peaches, and this is what will go into the jars. So I just take some time to do that. I've got most of the peaches sliced up. I don't know if I'm going to need them all for this batch, so I'm just going to go ahead and get the jars out and see what I have so far. I'm going to lift the jar, get the water out very carefully, and then we'll go over here, and then we'll just place them on the cutting board. I am going to put a tablespoon of maple syrup in each jar, because if I do not do that now, I will wonder, did I do it? Did I put it in this jar? Did I not put it in this jar? So I'm just getting it done so I can see it done. Another one of those things where this isn't as important with the maple syrup, but when you're canning a marinara sauce, like a spaghetti sauce, you have to have, or tomatoes, you have to have lemon in your jars. And I could never remember if I put the lemon in my jars because I couldn't see it. So if I just say, this is the step I do first, it's done, then it's out of the way and I know that I did it. So then we've got our funnel in the jar. The pot that was boiling the peaches before is now just boiling regular water to add in, and I also have the kettle going as well. So we're just going to start filling. And I'm just going to kind of loosely fill them, and then I'm going to take my little poker tool and we'll get them a little bit more full. I just kind of want to see what I have here to see if I need to do any others real quick or not. These are pints. You can do these in quarts as well. I find for our family, pints work just fine. I just saw a little peach stem. But yeah, you do what you like. Oh yeah, we're gonna be fine here, okay. Another reason is too that I do a lot of things in pints is that if a kid opens something, a jar, and I don't know that they've opened it, and it kind of gets tucked in the fridge, and I don't get to know that I have something to use up, I don't want things going bad. So it's much easier just to kind of do the pints for us anyway. All right, so then I'm just gonna go in and kind of give these peaches a little tap down to see what so we're gonna leave a little room for that hot water. And it is messy. I'm not really doing this very neatly, but I will be cleaning up the jars, and that's what that wonderful little paper towel is going to be for. Is that step number 1000? I have no idea what step we're on. We're going to be adding the hot water. You can hear it like bubbling. And then your final landing place with these jars is a 1/2 inch headspace, and I'll show you what that's gonna look like. Probably gonna take couple of these out, even though they're gonna burn my hands while I do. So this also gets rid of the air pockets on the sides of the jar. When you do this, you can actually see some of the bubbles coming up. Here's our cool little tool, and we can see the 1/2 inch is right here. So if I put this down, I can see that this jar is perfect. This jar is perfect. This jar is perfect. This jar needs a tiny bit more to hit what's in the jar needs to touch the bottom of this. That's pretty good. This one will need a little bit more. That was probably too much, so I'll have to spoon some out. And there we go. Then you're gonna come through and you're gonna take your paper towel. Some people use vinegar. I tend to use vinegar when I'm pressure canning, not so much when I'm water bath canning. I wipe all around the rims and on the top. I get my lid on. I get my band. I do this finger tight, which means if I don't put my pinky on, as tight as I can get without my pinky on. And then this final step, I'm picking up the jars. I'm moving them over here into the water bath canner. I'll be able to get all 7 in here. And then what I'm going to need to do is make sure it's filled with about 1 inch full of water over the tops of the jars. This is well over 1 inch, and this water will boil out if I don't remove some of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove and basically sprinkle the floor with water. Actually, I can put it right into here. How clever is that? My little pot of boiling water over here that didn't actually need to be used. So you only need about 1 inch over. Some people do 2 inches, whatever works. Okay, then I'm going to place the top on my water bath canner. I'm going to turn the heat to high. The timer will start for 25 minutes as soon as the water comes to a full boil. Do not start the timer before your water comes to a full boil. So 25 minutes, and then when that is done, I turn off the heat and let it sit there covered just as is for 5 or 10 minutes. That way, when you pick the jars up, there's no siphoning that happens, which is basically that rush of change of temperature from boiling to room temperature can cause the stuff to just siphon out, and it's a mess. I've had it happen a few times. It's gross. I have this wonky old school timer. 25 minutes, but not yet because it's not boiling. Okay, here are our very final steps. This has been sitting for about 10 minutes after boiling. I'm going to take the lid off. And then very carefully keeping the jars as upright as possible, lifting them over to the towel, and then I won't touch these again for 24 hours. We might hear some popping when I take them out, but we might not. So there's a tiny bit of siphoning happening, regardless of the fact that I let them sit. A little bit of bubbling out and over, it's fine. The lid should still pop, everything should be okay. Basically what you're waiting for now is to make sure the lid pops, and you actually can hear the pop. But you're not gonna test the lids until the next day. So tomorrow around 11, I will take the bands off and I'll go and test them by lifting them up from the lid, and if it stays attached to the jar, it's sealed, and if it doesn't, it hasn't. It's pretty easy to figure out. And that is candy peaches. I will write with a Sharpie on the top what it is. Even if you think you know what it is, write what it is. So I'll write peaches, maple syrup, and then put the date and put it in the pantry. Thank you for hanging out with me while we make some peaches and do some preserving. We are about to be in full swing. August is like preserving month. It's glorious, but I will have my peaches done, so that's awesome. One thing checked off the list. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.